The Monster Trio, let's talk about it. Let's talk about their progression, everything that they need to do during Wano and post Wano to be considered the monster that they are. And if you guys didn't know, the Monster Trio is something that fans made themselves. It's not officially stated by Oda, but basically it's talking about the three strongest in the crew, Zoro, Luffy, and Sanji. Specifically in the order, it goes Luffy's greater than or equal to Zoro, and then it goes Sanji. I believe in a data book, it was stated that Luffy and Zoro were equal in terms of strength, and Sanji was right behind them. I mean, this changed a little bit potentially what's happening in Wano. However, I still think by the end of the arc it'll be Luffy and Zoro relative to each other over Sanji. And the reason why that they're considered monsters or the Monster Trio is because I think the scene that we all love, I mean, they do a lot of stuff together, but the one that sticks out to me the most was in Alabasta when they took down that beast, and so they were considered and called monsters. And I want to clarify, I don't any disrespect towards Sanji or Zoro or anything like that. I do believe it's Luffy that is above them all, or you could say Luffy is greater than or equal to Zoro, and Sanji is really close to them, but he's not quite there yet. And the reason why, aside from that data book, that I say Luffy and Zoro are relative is because of how Oda narratively depicts Zoro over Sanji. Zoro has fought against multiple of the main villains, Arlong, Enel, Rob Lucci, Kaido, Big Mom, Hody Jones, where Sanji, he's only clashed or stopped Big Mom's attack. So Zoro's done like 5 or 6 main opponents while Sanji has only done 1. But the dynamics that are switching, we know that Luffy's crew isn't the standard typical crew. However, he has unofficial official commanders, Zoro and Sanji, which is why Nico Robin said Sanji's needed or a wing that allow the Pirate King to soar. I think the best examples of this include the Pacifistas, how they highlighted these 3 characters, how they were able to take down Pacifistas like it was nothing. And then we have Against the Kraken, we have Fishman Island, and a lot of other instances that showcase Zoro and Sanji protecting Luffy or showcasing the 3 of them fighting at the same time. 2 of my favorite moments include when Luffy's walking up to Hody Jones and Zoro and Sanji block the 2 opponents that are standing in Luffy's way, the 2 fodder that Luffy doesn't need to handle because he's supposed to take down the big boss. And then we have against King and Queen, where Sanji and Zoro, they hit him with a Purgatory Onigiri and a Diablo Jambe Mutin shot, where they say, hey, when we defeat these people or when we're done with this battle, Luffy will be 1 step closer to becoming king of the pirates. Which is why I've made a video about Yamato joining the crew, and I also made a video about Yamato and Zoro, who's stronger. I'll leave those in the description. But I've seen a lot of people get discouraged where I believe the order goes Luffy, then Zoro, then Yamato, then Sanji, and Jinbei. And those 5 are the 5 strongest of the crew. It goes them. And I think end of Wano, we will be able to see why Zoro and why Sanji are over Yamato considerably, in that it won't be up for discussion anymore. The Straw Hat crew, they're constantly evolving. They're taking down Yonko at this point. And these 3, since they're the strongest in the crew, they need to be considerably stronger than the rest. And I think that they need more power-ups and more strength in order to showcase why they're considered those monsters. One thing that I hate talks about One Piece's progression in terms of power, specifically Luffy, and I guess you could say others in the crew, Zoro and Sanji as well. They talk about how Luffy shouldn't be able to fight against Kaido right now, equal and all this, but you guys gotta remember, Naruto out of the time skip, he was able to go against people like Kaguya, Madara after achieving KCM. Sasuke too had the Rinnegan, and a lot of other characters that shouldn't be on that level they were. Ichigo, after a couple days of training, not really knowing much about spiritual pressure, about Shikai's, Bankai's and all that, Ichigo went into Soul Society and he was able to be equal or even stronger than that of a captain. We have My Hero Academia, spoiler alert for the manga, skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled, but we have these kids who are keeping up with Shigaraki, who has the powers of All for One, and that they're fighting, I guess you could say, better than the #1 heroes. Asta, Noel, they're keeping up with, or even stronger characters, are keeping up. They defeated members of the Dark Triad, and that they're, well, I guess Asta technically didn't, but we know Asta would have folded Dante. but they're stronger or even stronger than that of Cactus. Anime characters are known to be prodigies, right? The younger generation always does better than the older generation. They do stuff quicker. So I don't understand why people are getting mad at One Piece characters who came out of a time skip, who has showcased time and time them training to get stronger, why they're getting mad at their progression. Because narratively, the way that Kaido is being portrayed to get taken down, it's more masterful planning, because they snuck Kaido when he was drunk and during a party, where even though they snuck him, and even though Kaido's been against the Kaizenai, Yamato, Zoro, the Supernova, Luffy, Kaido's still kicking, he's still going all out, and he's still whooping on these people. So it just doesn't make sense. I just think people are hating. But throughout the series, Luffy had to get stronger in order to win. That's the point of Gears. Gears second, he uses his veins, he pumps blood through them to make him stronger and faster. And then Gear third is when he bites into his bone and he blows a portion and gets bigger. That's how Bluno and Rob Lucci, they were defeated. That's how members of CP9 went down. Then we jump into the New World, Luffy against Doflamingo. He had to get stronger, which is the point of Gear 4, where he blows muscle into his muscle, and he infuses that with Haki. That's how he got Bound Man, was able to go against Doflamingo, against Cracker Tank Man. Not going to stay too much on that. And in Katakuri, he had to be faster, so he used Snake Man in order to get stronger. But against a Yonko, I think it makes more sense that Luffy levels up to another gear. Luffy understands the flow of Haki, which is why he could jump in and out of the Gear 4th better. We saw it against the ships, we saw it in Snake Man, and we've seen that Luffy is starting to be able to use his attacks better. However, like I said, against a Yonko, which is different from any commanders, it doesn't make, and even though Kaido got jumped, it still doesn't make any sense to me that Luffy can beat him with only achieving Gear 4th. He has to evolve. A scene from Stampede, and I know it's not canon, but I love a lot, is Luffy versus Bullet. It's basically Bullet, he's relative to Rayleigh in his prime, I believe, or maybe a little bit under Goldie Roger, but he's considered one of the strongest. You know, he's compared to a lot of strong characters. And a scene I love is when Bullet is taking on the Supernovas, and then he's like, well, if you want to be king of the pirates, you have to be at least as strong as me. And Luffy, he gets pissed. He's like, as strong as you? He jumps into Snake Man. He said, I'll be even stronger. And then for temporarily, he goes toe to toe against Bullet. And I'll play it for you guys.
You get it? To become king of the pirates, you'll need to be as strong as me.
Strong as you? I'll be even stronger! I'll do whatever it takes to win! Now, 4th gear! A form of Snake Man!
So what will Gear 5 be? It has to be something with great Haki control. A lot of people have speculated it will be Gear 5 form of Lion Man or something like that, because on the island when Luffy was training, we've seen a gorilla, which represents Bound Man, because the amount of times that he's referenced the King Kong gun and the Kong gun and a lot of other gorilla based or monkey based attacks. And then Snake Man is supposed to represent the alligator or the reptile, because they're in the same family. Snake Man, he's used King Cobra, Jet Culverin, Black Mamba, and a lot of other attacks. And the last animal that was left was a lion, which lions represent the king of the jungle, and that Luffy wants to be king of the pirates, so that makes sense. And then lastly, Luffy, he needs an awakening potentially. It could be the same as Katakuri and Doflamingo, whenever he touches something it turns into rubber, or it could be similar to Doflamingo, how Luffy can get faster regeneration, how Doflamingo is using his strengths to regenerate himself. Maybe Luffy can use rubber to regenerate himself. Next, we have Zoro, and something funny about Zoro's always nerfed in his fights. Against Arlong, Zoro had that scar. Against Mihawk, Daz Bones, he couldn't cut steel, but he was better technically sound, because we saw time and time again that he was able to hit Daz Bones, he just couldn't deal any damage. Against Hody Jones, Zoro, he could defeat him, but he was underwater. And then against Big Mom and Kaido, the fact that Zoro, he had to block ocean sovereignty or conquest of the sea, and that he has 20 to 30 broken bones in his body. Now he's fighting King, and I know that they replenish his stamina, but it's kind of like something mental. It's, you know, it's a drug, but mentally Zoro thinks he's fine when he's not really. Similar to Luffy's hormones. whenever Ivankov gave him the energy hormones, the damage and pain, it's still there, but Luffy just couldn't feel it. So I mean, it's whatever. I think it's narratively so that Luffy could take down the main opponent, because Zoro was just that dude. But it just kind of sucks that Zoro would always get nerfed in a lot of his fights. And this has nothing to do against King. I think King is strong. I think King is at least mid first, but I think Zoro is stronger. I think that at the end of the fight, it would be Zoro Extreme Diff. I think the tier list for these characters, I think Luffy's low top tier, while Zoro's mid first to low top tier, and Sanji's anywhere between mid second and mid or high second, maybe even low first, where I think Zoro in his fights, he has to advance himself. And it kind of reminds me of Hit from Dragon Ball, where Hit was like, hey, I'm not saying I can't transform like you guys, so I have to work on my craft and advance myself. And we saw Hit advance his time skip, I believe twice in his fight against Goku, and we saw time and time again that Zoro had to advance himself in his fights. I think the best one is against Dad's Bones in order to get stronger. So what does Zoro need to do to get stronger? Has to attain Rio. Personally, I think Zoro has Rio. There is no way you can convince me he doesn't, because in the anime version, whenever he went and they stormed the little outpost, he had red haki on Enma, and then his other sword, Sandai Kitetsu, he had purple haki. That's not just for a visual purpose. They did that on purpose, where Luffy, he uses Rio, it's red, and the Scabbards, they use Rio. So like if Kiemon can use it, then I think Zoro should be able to have it. And the one scene that will solidify if Zoro has Rio or not is when he made Kaido dodge, because he was charging up, I believe it's the Dragon Blaze attack or Soaring Black Dragon Blaze, something like that, in Enma. And so Kaido dodged. So if that showcases that it has Rio or red haki, then I'll be convinced. But if not, if Zoro doesn't have Rio, then he needs to gain that. He also needs to gain a black blade, because that is, they talked about it on the bridge with Onyemaru about how Rima forged it through battles, and Mihawk talks about, and he prides himself on the black blade. So I think Zoro needs to attain that to take it to the next level, to become a great swordsman. He also needs to learn how to coat his attacks and Conqueror's attacks, because we know that he's able to manifest Ashura through Conquerors. However, we have yet to see him, or it's yet to be confirmed that he can use advanced Conquerors. And then lastly, maybe potentially he opens that eye. We know that something special about the Shimosuke clan, Ryuma and Shimosuke, his father, I forget his name off the top of my head, but maybe they have something to do with that. But personally, I just think that is doing it for visual purposes. I don't think the eye has anything to do with Zoro's strength. The last person we have is Sanji. Sanji's strong. I think that because he's not on the level of Zoro and Luffy. I think he's as close to Zoro as he's ever been in the series, but I think we discredit him a lot. And Sanji, he's more known for his writing than his strength, but I love him. I think he has the coldest fighting style in anime. But now Sanji has an exoskeleton. In chapter 1029, it's proven that 1, he can stop blades, and 2, if he gets shot, it doesn't hurt. So there's that. And we know that the way that his family, his siblings, that they're strong is because their DNA judge, he infused them with different types. Maybe Sanji is Lunarian, maybe Sanji has more than that in him. The possibilities are endless now that we know that they incorporate DNA. Oda could really write what the heck he wants. We have to see what the Raid 2 has to offer. We saw it a little bit against Page 1, that he can go invisible, he can deflect attacks, kind of bounce it back, has better durability, he's fast. But what other things can the raid suit do? We gotta see it incorporated with the Diablo Jamba. I want to see that. I believe there was a cover spread where he had everybody as raid suits on the Straw Hat Crew, and Sanji, he did have the Diablo Jamba incorporated with his raid suit, so I can't wait for that. Sanji has to get blue flames, because I believe blue flames are stronger or burn hotter than that of yellow, orange, red colored flames. I don't know what the color of fire is, but I'm gonna just say orange. It's a mixture of a few, right? So we gotta see that. It reminds me of Azula from Avatar, how she has the blue flames. She went against Zuko, and time again she will whoop Zuko every single time, except for the last Agni Kai. But lastly, Sanji, he has to get better with his haki. They have to stop doing him dirty. They have to give him future sight. Sanji is way too fast not to have future sight. I think it's a disservice if he doesn't. And because of his martial arts and his black leg style, I think we have to give him advanced armament as well in order to incorporate it with his kicking style. But to conclude, these characters, they're monsters in their own right. They have to get stronger. They have to evolve to showcase why they're the strongest in their crew, and so that they can gain more respect throughout the new world. I can't wait to see Shanks' reaction, and Mihawk's reaction, Redleg, Zeph, and the Vinsmokes. Can't wait to see their reaction. But let me know your guys' thoughts. How do you guys feel about the monster trio? What other powers do you guys think they need, either at the end of Wano, during Wano, or for them to be successful in the future? But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.